Hi there, would you like to sign my petition?
Not only do I not want to back this, I'm going to actively tell people not to.
Some good news. So Stop Killing Games got the 1 million signatures that they needed to actually like turn the petition into a actual piece of legislature, at least push it towards the EU government to actually have them do something if you're unaware. So the whole point of Stop Killing Games is to stop live service games from actually just disconnecting from the earth entirely and allow you to play these games at least privately or in some fashion, at least be able to preserve the video game, the vidya, as you will. Games like The Crew, Concord, Destiny 1, a billion other games like that have that. It sucks. You know, you're not going to be able to play those games after they turn the servers off. On Stop Killing Games, it says that they are not forcing developers to keep supporting the game. They can turn it off, they can turn the servers off. They just have to allow us to play the game, you know, on our own private servers or even just single player or something. Allow us to keep continuing to play the game. And this was started by Ross over at Accursed Farms on YouTube. And again, like I said, we finally hit 1 million signatures that they needed to actually push this petition towards being an actual law in the EU. It's no thanks to Pirate Software, to Thor Pirate Software. If you've seen him, you've probably seen him while you're taking a 20-minute shit break at work, just over explaining the most basic concepts with a really weird, deep voice that to some probably sounds fake. And despite this being a net positive for quite literally everybody, including developers who work hard on a game and want to be able to play it at some point, you know, even like 10, 20 years later after it comes out and the company stops supporting it. Despite this being a net positive, of course, there has to be some guy that's like, actually, I'm going to take the opposite point of view just to be a contrarian, be a dickhead. That person is Pirate Software.
So I worked at Blizzard when I first started at Blizzard. So when I worked at Blizzard, my dad is the WoW guy from software.
And I'll be honest, he did actually have some valid points in criticism against Stop Killing Games. Like, here we have nothing. I have nothing! There were no valid points at all. Other than the fact that, I'm a game developer and actually, I worked at Blizzard, my dad, yeah. What's even more annoying is he doesn't even give us the bare minimum of having an actual consistent stance on the point, because he's switched so many fucking times on why he doesn't support this initiative. At first, it was because, well, you guys should change the language because I agree the fact that you're buying a license to a game and you're actually paying for something.
The reason why I have a problem with Stop Killing Games is specifically it starts the wrong conversation. If we're trying to kill off the practice of developers putting together a live service game, pitching it as a single player experience, and then taking away support in the future, this ain't it. Correct. In niche cases where a studio is trying to sell a game as if you are buying it or purchasing it or using that language specifically, and they give you a live service game instead, I agree that should change. That language should change. You are not purchasing the game. You are not buying the game. You are paying to have a license to a live service experience. I get that. Is that what this is doing though? The initiative is not trying to call that out specifically. It's trying to say that all games need to stay in a functional, playable state, which is not calling out the language that is being used to manipulate the player. Call that out specifically.
And then he says it's bad for indie devs because it's going to charge indie devs out the ass to be able to keep the servers online in order to make live service games. So
the thing that I'm worried about at the outset is wanting to put any type of legal framework together to force studios to have a contingency plan for games that are live service games. This is the concern that I have. Because I don't want, and this is the real one, I don't want the government telling indies that they have to have their live service game stay online forever. I don't want that. Nobody wants that. But when you're talking about a legal setting to force people to do this, you're generally moving in that direction. Where there's like smaller games, and everybody's focusing on the big juggernauts. They're like, what happens when World of Warcraft goes away? I want to play World of Warcraft. But you're not thinking about how this could impact everybody in the space. Just the big titans. Everybody wants to stick it to the man, and they forget that, well, the man is not the only man on the board.
Then he says that the government shouldn't be in games because the thing is like, you know, you saw the whole thing with TikTok asking if TikTok is able to access your home Wi-Fi and access an airplane if your device is on airplane mode or some shit.
If you think the government can manage anything, you haven't been around long enough. Legitimately. That is a terrifying prospect. Letting the government get into video games is a terrible goddamn idea. Awful idea. You need to get through a couple more presidents before you realize that shit. That is an awful direction. Keep the government out of games. No thank you. If you want to petition a studio to then have that game released as a live service game with private servers on the outside, you go right ahead. You get the government involved, I am not on your side. I am not on your side even a little bit. Government can stay the hell out of games. Yeah, I told you before, I'm not a fan of the government. There's a reason for that shit. Keep them out of games. Stay out of games. No. They can't manage shit. They've never been able to manage shit. I don't want them in games. You don't want them in games.
But with this initiative and with this legislation that they're trying to introduce, obviously the points that would be made clearly, and the people who would be pushing for this, lobbyists who would be pushing for, you know, consumer protections, would understand the language that they would need to use to convey that to the government. But then he says that the government is actually so smart, despite 5 seconds ago saying that they're fucking dumb as rocks, they're going to pick apart the bill completely, and we're actually not going to get anything from it because they're just going to find loopholes and a whole bunch of other shit in order to pretty much make the entire initiative null, essentially.
Say that the government just doesn't care and this is an easy win and we're going to get it through is disingenuous. You're talking about a multi-billion-dollar global industry. To think that the government isn't going to be meticulously looking through this and looking for flaws and holes is absurd. So I don't think that's honest at all, and I find it
So again, which one is it? Are they too smart or are they too fucking dumb? It was insane. Then his defense from all of that was, well, I would support your guys' cause, but because of what he calls valid criticisms and problems with Stop Killing Games, the community is just so toxic and terrible that they're just attacking him, sending death threats and just, you know, sending him terrible stuff in his chat when he's streaming or some shit, and even review bombing his game. Oh no, Pirate Software's game is getting review bombed. That's the most terrible thing in the whole fucking world. Jesus Christ.
People said that for whatever reason that somehow I wasn't getting attacked or any of this kind of stuff. I got swatted on Tuesday. I've been having constant calls to my cell phone. I had tens of thousands of death threats to myself and the rest of the moderation team. People called the county trying to say that our rescue was an animal horde. I've been called a pedophile, zoophile, rapist, corporate plant, degenerate, narcissist, nepo baby, and many other names. And they attacked all the accomplishments over my life, despite physical evidence to prove to the contrary. And they also went after every job I ever held, trying to say that I never worked them, or if I did work them, that I never deserved them. So I'm going to be honest with you.
Well, I can't prove he didn't get death threats. I mean, everyone does on the internet. Everyone gets death threats. It's just a thing. I'm sure he did. I'm sure he didn't do anything to warrant anyone harassing him like this, right?
Shit, now this is actually really dumb. It's used car salesman garbage. This is shit. It's shit. Not only do I not want to back this, I'm going to actively tell people not to. That is awful. That is a horrible goddamn direction. That's awful, dude. No, eat my entire ass. The level of stupid that I just had to receive was like sitting on Twitter for 12 hours. This shit sucks. That's a really stupid ass move. That's an incredibly stupid ass move. I think this is ass. This is complete garbage. All of this can eat shit then. I dropped the mask entirely. I have no qualms about that. They can eat my entire ass. The whole thing. That sounds stupid as shit.
At least you didn't say anything about death threats being, stupid. No one should worry about them, right?
People like that being like, you're a dirty Putin supporter. People call me a Nazi. People saying I should die. Like, all kinds of shit. And like, nah, I don't give a shit. Dude, I grew up on 4chan. Like, you're not going to say anything that's going to make me upset. It's not going to work. Are you kidding me? That's just not going to do anything. Like, I literally grew up on something awful forums at 4chan. Like, good luck, right? Good luck, right? I was like, what was it? I was like 15 sitting on freaking Lively. Like, send me whatever you want. It's not going to do anything. Enjoy. I was born in this shit. No way, dude. Yeah, even my Steam comments had those. Oh, are they doing it on my Steam?
You can't bring up death threats and act like they're a problem if you are going to go on stream and say that they're not a problem. You have to pick one. Stop flip-flopping. It's fucking irritating. Now, about the review bombing that Thor claimed to have happened to his game, that they suffered false negative views because of his stance on stop killing games. Let's look at that real quick. Just real quick. Let's actually look at that. And wow, with a quick Google search, we can see that that's actually not true at all. You're just making shit up to be the victim. I don't understand how you, the person who's anti-consumer in this sense, is the victim in this scenario. I don't understand. And wait, what's this? You and Ludwig are also working on a live service game. How interesting. Not only does he have to go against and go after the Stop Killing Games initiative, he has to go after Ross, the guy who started the whole thing. Despite Ross being one of the most genuine people on the internet, or at least from what I can tell, he just seems like such a normal, grounded person. Like he doesn't make up shit about anybody or anything. He's not even trying to get into drama with this whole situation. He says that Ross is a toxic and disingenuous person. And yeah, it was real disingenuous when Ross wouldn't even say that you lied about Stop Killing Games, even though there's tons of fucking proof that you did.
Here has been the #1 voice on the campaign, and he's been lying about what it is. That's a bit loaded though. In this case, I'm using the second definition of lie. I have no evidence it's the first.
The fact that you knew what the initiative was about, you were reading it in front of your fucking face, people told you multiple times what it was about, and still you lied. Ross is the disingenuous person.
If you try to tell me that every studio needs to run their live service game indefinitely or not run one at all, then no one's going to run them.
He was literally watching the video earlier where it says it won't do that in big letters. That wasn't enough. We just can't stop gamers from going there, even when we spell it out.
But even though he wouldn't even talk to Ross directly, he decided to talk to a whole bunch of other people like Lewis Rossman, Asmongold, and Charlie Moist Critical. According to Thor, the talk with Charlie went pretty well. And that's about it. He talked with Charlie. That's all he said. Now, it's really interesting that you would leave out what the conversation was about when all Charlie would have to do is make a video exposing what you guys actually had a conversation about.
To talk about his refusal to acknowledge that he did, maybe unintentionally, misrepresent Stop Killing Games. And it led to a just shy of 2 hours, circular argument that ultimately got us nowhere. He was more focused on his qualms with Stop Killing Games and really liked to challenge me to prove him wrong about some of his hangups with it. And when I would mention, the behavior aspect, hey, you did misrepresent it, and I'd give him a timestamp, he'd then instead say how I'm wrong for thinking that he misrepresented it. We got nowhere.
Wow. Do you not care how other people perceive you at all whatsoever? Now, by the way, with all this sinful lying business, as good Christians here, as good Catholics, good Greek Orthodox members here, we don't want to do any sinful lying. Okay, that's like the 4th commandment. You don't want to do any of that. Okay, it would be a shame if you were lying about your life's achievements and how this is your actual voice, right? That would suck.
I'm here with Thor, founder of Pirate Software. How's your show been so far?
It's actually been amazing. It's our first time out here at Denver Comic-Con, and there's so many people, and they love the games.
If you try to tell me that every studio needs to run their live service game indefinitely or not run one at all, then no one's going to run them.
I can't tell if it's a voice changer or if he's just doing the weird pyro deep voice thing. It's not even like he has an annoying voice like I do. It's just a normal fucking voice. This is something that children do on the internet to make themselves sound older than they actually are. It's really fucking embarrassing. And his explanation for this is, no, I'm not using a voice changer. No, I'm not putting on a weird fake, voice. I went through second puberty.
Went back to the doctor. Doctor's like, hey, sometimes in your early 30s, your voice can change as a man, and it's effectively second puberty. This is what I used to sound like. That's what I used to look like 5 years ago. Wait for this. This is awful.
My hot dogs. are freshly picked. I'm gonna have to peel it. I'm gonna have to peel my hot dog.
Yeah, that was it, dude.
Every good hot dog needs to be peeled.
Now, I'm not a psychologist or a therapist or a dermatologist, so I wouldn't really know about second puberty like that. But I'm just gonna say here that that's a fucking lie. You're in your 30s and you're putting on a fake deep voice to make yourself sound cool. That's just really fucking embarrassing. I don't know. By the way, Thor. That's not his name. I mean, I don't know if that was obvious or not. It sounds like a nickname, but it's not a stage name. Apparently, it's his middle name. But he insists on every single fucking person that he talks to on calling him Thor, and insists that everyone that he meets calls him Thor. Like everyone just calls him Thor now because he wanted to be this super cool Reddit Megatron having ass name. Like, I don't understand why you would want your name to be Thor. That sounds so fucking lame. I'm sorry. But did you know that his dad worked at Blizzard? Sure you did, because he brings it up every 5 minutes. But
So I worked at Blizzard for 7 years. When I first started at Blizzard, I made $10 an hour. Broad is an awesome dude. I got to work with him when we worked on Hearthstone for security stuff. No, my dad didn't inspire the WoW guy from Southern. My dad is the WoW guy from Southern. He was the cinematic director for Blizzard for 23 years. So when I worked at Blizzard, I had to do a social engineering task where, so I banned about 2 million players when I worked for Blizzard. To understand how rough the working conditions were at Blizzard, we worked overtime a ton. I worked 2 years of overtime straight on StarCraft 2. My favorite time when I was at Blizzard, when I first started at Blizzard, was an authenticator bypass for Blizzard, and patched the hole so that Cartel A and Cartel B could continue competing with each other legitimately.
His dad worked at Blizzard, and he worked at Blizzard. I can say there is a possibility that Thor's father might have been the one stealing the breast milk over at Blizzard. I don't know if that's the case. You know, I do tend to make up shit in my head. That could be the case. I don't know. Is that funny? Yes. Do I have proof? No. But I'm not going to say that's the truth because I don't want to lie about his dad. Now, seeing all these clips of him by now, I'm sure you can kind of grasp his personality as just being a contrarian, annoying dickhead that everyone doesn't really like talking to. I'm sure you've met people like this in your personal life. I know I have. Someone that just will not back down from fucking anything. And 90% of people who interact or even, just watch this guy parasocially or interact with him in real life have come to this conclusion. He's just annoying and his personality is garbage. He's just this really super weird narcissist that constantly has to be right about everything. I don't know, maybe it's just the way that he talks. Like he kind of like talks down to you all the time. Like he's like this superior being, especially with his DEF CON badges, despite them being like participation trophy badges. But that's besides the point. And maybe him not actually working at Blizzard, just being a QA tester, but that's besides the point. NEPO baby, that's besides the point. We don't really want to get into that now, do we? Now, Dr. K from Healthy Gamer GG, a fucking psychologist, a doctor, had a 2-hour conversation with Thor and clocked him standing on business, okay? That he's fucking annoying and that his personality just rubs him the wrong way.
We're not here to like rehab your PR, right? We're just here to have a conversation. And at the same time, over the last 2 hours, there's something about the way that I hear you talk that rubs me the wrong way. There's something about the way that you talk that seems dismissive.
Now imagine you're talking with a doctor and they're like, yeah, you're annoying and I really don't like you. Like, what do you do after that? How do you come back from that as a person, especially with like a ego this big? I don't understand how that didn't just completely destroy him. Like, but I mean, when you over-explain basic concepts for a living, like you're talking to a fucking 5-year-old every single day, like how to budget for food.
What I like to do is I'll buy a bunch of stuff in bulk and I'll make a bunch of meals. I also don't let anything go bad. I find that a lot of the times people have a lot of food waste. Like they'll save leftovers
and then they just don't eat them and they just throw them away, right? And I think that's really bad. So I plan a bunch of meals in advance. One of the most expensive things that you can get is your protein source. Whatever that protein source is, a quarter beef, which is 225 pounds of beef once a year. And I put this in the deep freezer, which right now is
or giving the worst fucking possible interview advice ever.
I have a Google interview coming up. Got any advice on how I should go about this?
Yeah. Don't be afraid to say no. The power of no is super important. If you get asked to do something that is absurd in the interview that you know is inefficient, saying no and then offering a new solution that is more efficient than the task that was asked of you is incredibly powerful. In fact, my interview that I had with Amazon Game Studios, they were like, hey, I want you to go up to the whiteboard and I want you to write out how you would do this database. And I said, nope. I will not do that. I will not write it up on the whiteboard, but I will sit down and talk to you about what parameters you have.
At some point, someone's going to point this out and be like, yeah, this guy fucking blows.
Just don't leave after the interview. Tell them you're not going anywhere until they offer you that job. You know how I got my first job? I brought a brisket to the interview.
And I'm going to be honest, I wouldn't take this guy's advice unless you want to end up like him, where you annoy quite literally everyone around you unless you're Ludwig. I don't know if you want to keep Ludwig around you all the time, but hey, maybe you do. Jeez, I don't know. But he rubs me and rubs everyone off the wrong way. Yeah, that's something he's into too, is, femboy furries. And there's nothing inherently wrong with liking femboys or furries, whatever. I don't care. Whatever gets you off, I guess. I don't want to know about it. It's really weird how now on the internet, that's like just a thing people talk about. please, I don't want to know about it. If you comment it, sad for like a day, just knowing that you decided to put that out on the internet. But hey, you know, if that's what you're into, whatever. Unless you pirate software, then I'm gonna make fun of you for it because that's fucking retarded. It is really sad. You should be quite embarrassed, quite frankly. When this person was freshly 20 years old, I mean, that's basically a child. It's like 16 years old. I don't know. There was this whole thing talking about him wanting to, getting jealous that this femboy furry was talking to other people. He was also in an open relationship, so I don't know. There's some make fun of him points for that. If you're in an open relationship, I guess I'm not gonna make fun of you. I'm gonna make fun of him for being, you know, yeah. You're in an open relationship. I'm sorry. That's the gayest thing I've ever heard of. It's not even like, that's gayer than having sex with a man. I'm sorry. It just is. I mean, whatever floats your boat, I guess. Here's some chat logs from that.
You're saying you're
I'll probably look at it,
with me, but not a serious one.
Not like the way he rubs off femboy furries, though.
But I'm not ready for the commitment yet.
So sexual stuff with me, but also with others then?
What? I want to go to TwitchCon with you still.
You seem to want to hook up at TwitchCon. Is this the case or not?
I wouldn't be opposed.
So, you want an IRL sexual relationship with me, but not it to be committed? And you don't want to have IRL sexual stuff with anyone else?
Thor is listing facts to be set up his argument. I don't know what the fuck that means.
Right?
He says, yes, arf.
It's the same thing as being in a committed relationship, you dingus. I'm gonna have a lot of fun with you at TwitchCon. TwitchCon.
Cuddling is also on my list, if we have time for that. They send him a heart with a ribbon on it.
It kind of... If this person was truly, like, encapsulated by Thor, then why the fuck would they even, quote-unquote, cheat on them in the first place? I call Big Spoon.
Okay. How unfortunate it would be if some innocent cuddles turned into something more.
Super wanty. Super wanty.
And what's also interesting, this isn't the only furry drama he's been in. Back when he would play Second Life, apparently he was like the head of some furry thing, and every single person that would interact with him on there also hated him. So he just has this history of people not liking him. It really cripples him inside because he's a NEPO baby. Everyone has to be nice to him at work, you know, in these work settings. He doesn't understand why. It just fucking freaks him out. The wires start going fucking crazy. The neurons in his head aren't firing properly. How can you hate anyone for hating on this guy? I mean, look at his furry avatar. Like, if you're gonna have a furry avatar, at least make it, like, you know, normal. Why do you have a ferret with big ass feet specifically? Apparently you can also buy his furry avatar if you're interested in doing that. I don't know. Now, after hearing that, you know, Stop Killing Games got the 1 million signatures that it needed, pushing it towards actually becoming, you know, a law in the EU, I have to give it to Pirate Software. You know, after hearing of this news, Sir Jason Thor Hall made a statement that would show his willingness to admit when he's wrong, you know, apologize to those that he's lied about.
I hope that your initiative gets everything you asked for, but nothing you wanted. And I'll leave it there.
Why can't you just say sorry? Why can't you just say my bad? I don't understand. You know, just hit one of these. Just hit one of these when you're genuinely wrong. You know, my bad. I didn't even really mean it like that. I don't really understand what the fuck your problem is. Only child, former gifted, burnt out child, head, goofy 6'7" diddy blood, Sorry. He's just annoying. I don't know. Like, if you know someone like this that can't apologize, I recommend cutting them out of your life because you're never gonna get through to them. This person is just annoying, and this is who he is. It's fucking insane. The only people to ever agree with Pirate Software, according to him, is the devs who only seem to gain profit and less work by not having to actually hold pro-consumer values, you know, actually follow through with those practices. And
the reason I'm not going to wait is because I see the start of this conversation not making sense. It's not including the actual developer side of the conversation. It's not showing the trials and problems that this could arise inside of the gaming industry for people who are actually making the games you play. I received hundreds of comments from developers thanking me for putting it out.
If we hold up a little whiteboard and look at the rights that we have as consumers versus the company rights that companies have, we're going to be looking at like 100 to 1. And your main concern is that 100 to 1 is going to go down to 99 to 2. Are you fucking being serious right now? Like, you are a corporate shill. You are a maggot. You suck. I hate you. So fucking, I'm so happy that everyone hates you. I hope your entire sub count drops immediately. This guy just sucks. He's actually terrible. And what's really interesting, this entire thing, after this whole Stop Killing Games initiative, a new lobbyist group actually came just, I believe they were a thing before, but they're trying to lobby shit in the EU, pretty much trying to stop Killing Games from being a thing, which is fucking wild. I know it's like part of the legal process. I know people can do that, but these are all the companies that support that. So if you actually support pro-consumer practices, I would stop supporting these companies if you can. Pirate their games, maybe Pirate Software. I mean, Ubisoft just updated their EULA, their EULA, I don't know, is that how you say it? To where they're requesting that after you have these live service titles, that you destroy every copy that you own physically. Ubisoft is actually telling you to smash your fucking disc if you have it. What kind of bullshit is that? This is the shit that he's defending. It's actually ridiculous. These companies are putting out statements left and right talking about, well, we appreciate the Stop Killing Games initiative. Actually, fuck you, and we hope that your initiative goes to shit. You know, no thanks to Thor Pirate Software. It's just, I see people talking about this. Oh, it's just video game. Who cares? It's just video game. I don't give a shit. But this is very similar, at least consumer rights, you know, right to repair. If you're a fucking farmer right now and you have a John Deere tractor, I don't know if this went through or not, but previously, if you had a John Deere tractor, if you're a farmer, well, call the local repair guy or fucking do it yourself. Repair the tractor, get it back to work, and start making money again. But with John Deere, with their new line of trucks and shit and tractors, you're not able to do that, or you weren't able to for a long time. I forget if they actually changed it or not. You had to wait for a certified John Deere technician to come out to the middle of fucking nowhere, spend thousands of dollars, and have them fix it. Maybe they won't even be able to fucking fix it on site. You're gonna have to go without a tractor for months, maybe, because they won't let you service your own fucking tractor that you buy. Like, when you purchase things, currently, even as of now, especially digital games, you don't own those games. You own the license to that. And unless you're buying them through like GOG or stuff like that, you're owning the license to play that game, which is fucking ridiculous. Again, like I said, our little whiteboard of consumer rights versus like company rights, we have none. It's fucking ridiculous. Again, like the USB-C on the fucking iPhone is a thing that consumer rights was, you know, pushing for. And even the right to repair thing, similar with the John Deere thing, repairing your iPhone, repairing your fucking MacBook. Louis Rossman, go look at all of his shit that he had to constantly publish all the time and talk about and actually go and lobby for, you know, going to Washington, D.C. and paying people to go do that to make sure that we have the right to repair our own fucking devices that we pay for. Nintendo Switch 2, if you do something Nintendo doesn't like, they break your fucking console. It's insane. And it just slowly starts with this, like video games, shit like that. I mean, the fact that we have to pay, I pay an extra $30 a month on my internet bill so I can have unlimited data so I can download shit. You understand that data, it doesn't grow on trees. It's not a finite resource, because in the EU, that's not a thing. You can't charge people for using too much data. Why the fuck would you do that? That doesn't make any fucking sense.
Concept here is very simple. When you sign up for internet service, many ISPs will limit you to a certain amount of data each month, typically somewhere between 100 gigabytes and 1 terabyte. In a leaked 2015 memo advising its customer service employees not to tell consumers their data cap policy was to help alleviate congestion, because it wasn't. Yeah, Europe's got a much better system where ISPs are forced to provide service without data caps, and I actually can't come up with a better explanation.
Like, what are you talking about? I can't download, I download too much shit a month. What? No. And even with cars, on the Tesla, the battery, I believe it was like a used Tesla, you went to the Tesla service center, changed out the battery, they accidentally put the heavier battery in there that had a bigger capacity. And normally they'd be like, oh shit, cool, I get to keep this really nice big battery. But they noticed the mistake, and instead of having him come back and fix it, they're like, oh, you know, we'll just quickly do something in the software that makes it so you can't fully charge that battery. Now, this battery is heavier and was causing him to lose mileage like crazy, so he inevitably had to go back and pay for them to take the fucking battery out.
Does a paid MCU to upgrade a Tesla after the 3G shutdown. All goes well, the upgrade is done, car is working fine. Later on, while the car is parked in his driveway, Tesla calls him to tell him that they found and fixed a configuration mistake with his car. They remotely software locked the car to 60 again, despite having been a 90 for years. He now has lost 80 miles of range. They restore it back to the way it was, and they refuse. We can unlock it for $4,500. This guy bought a car, and years later Tesla reaches in remotely with no warning and literally cuts his usable range by 1/3.
These are things that happen. Even again with Tesla, you have to pay to unlock certain speeds of your fucking car that already allows it to go.
Model 3, this is not an option. There's only those 2 vehicles. Now, normally it costs $2,000. There's debate whether that's worth it, and some people get a little annoyed because it's like, wait, my car's capable of this, and you're just software unlocking it. But whatever your feelings are about that, it is a cool upgrade that you can get in just a few seconds that will lower your 0 to 60 time by half a second.
These are things that are going to keep happening, and if things like Stop Killing Games don't actually succeed, and if consumer rights aren't fought for, we're gonna live in a fucking dystopia where you live in a fucking box and you get to rent a fucking PlayStation and it immediately gets taken by some guy in a suit the second you turn it off. Or your car drives back to the dealership if you miss a payment or something. I don't understand why, when it doesn't matter to you, at some point it will. Why are you saying that this is stupid? Again, I understand video games, whatever, you don't care, but eventually it's going to come for you in some form or another. I mean, BMW and Mercedes make you pay a subscription to use fucking heated seats in a goddamn car. What the fuck is that? Heated seats and I have to pay a subscription? I'm just like, we need to do something. We need to do something about it. I don't know. And this is a step towards that. Again, like I said, whiteboard, we have like no fucking rights with things we own. Even with fucking games, we buy licenses to play these things on Steam, on the PlayStation, like PlayStation 3, that store's shut down. I can't access any of the fucking games on the PlayStation 3 anymore that I purchased. Why? Because Sony decided it was time for me not to be able to access those. That's why. That's it. They were doing that with movies and shit too. You're not actually buying anything anymore and people don't care. And it fucking sucks. Like, actually ridiculous. I don't know. I hope people like Pirate Software just, you know, get obliterated off of the platform, because I don't think that he deserves to have a platform.
We're gonna come and blow when
he's spreading actual just dangerous goddamn you know, freedom of speech, whatever. But when you're spreading dangerous fucking misinformation and just lies like this about things that are good for people, you know, imagine if there's people in the EU who signed the alternate petition, you know, fuck, to kill Stop Killing Games because they heard their favorite streamer or whatever say that it's actually bad, not actually giving any like clear reason as to why it's bad. It's just bad, and you know, we shouldn't support it. I don't know. I don't really understand. And then your car drives into a fucking wall because the Tesla servers went offline after 30 years of owning the car. Like, I don't, what the fuck is the point? I don't understand. You're just being a contrarian for no reason. And I'm really happy that you're the dickhead of the week on the internet right now. I mean, there's a lot of dickheads of the week on the internet right now, but currently right now, you're one of the biggest. And I hope you and your shitty ass fake deep voice cease to exist on this platform. I genuinely hope you do. Your shorts are filling up my feed and it annoys me. It bothers me. Your voice bothers me. Everything about you bothers me. The fact you lie about everything bothers me. I don't know. I know I haven't made a video in a while. Getting back to it. I love you guys. Please like and subscribe. I love you so goddamn much. Please go pirate Heartbound or something. I don't know. Does that make me legally non-liable if you go actually do that? I don't know. Anyway, love you guys. Goodbye. I really don't give a shit, dude.